I did have a lady a while back leave a comment on the old Coleman back here. She watched one of the videos I did on it, and she wanted me to go ahead and explain the winch a little bit better. And so while I got a chance this morning, I'll go ahead and show you how to do the winch. I've used a winch on this thing a couple times. I've used it to move some of the logs out of the pasture before and that kind of thing, and actually used it to pull the lawnmower out of the mud where I got stuck in the pasture about last year, I think it was. But the old winch does pretty good. And like I say, right here it is on the front. And I'll try to get you a shot right here. There's what it looks like. And Lulu's over here trying to help out. But the old winch is not too bad to work on this thing. I'll go ahead and start off by showing you the switch that goes on inside the dash. The actual toggle switch that works the winch, it just plugs in up under the dash. It's got a 3-prong connector on it right there. It plugs under the dash. And it's pretty self-explanatory right there. What are you doing, Lulu? Get out of the way. Look out, I can't see what you're telling the way. Move. But you push it up to go out. Lord have mercy, Lulu. But you push it up to go out, back to go in, and that warns the cable in and out. And I'll plug it in the dash and show you how it works. It actually just plugs here under the dash. You got your little connector right here. You plug it in right there, and that's all there is to it. And then, well, you got to switch it on first. Then out, in, out, in. But I tell you what I like to do, if I've got to go out there and hook the cable up to something, instead of mashing the out button the whole time, because it takes a little while to go out, because the motor's actually, the little electrical motor's actually turning the spool to put the wire out. Let me show you a little trick I always like to do. If you look right here on the front of this winch, it's got there's actually a switch right here. It says in, and on the back side here it says out. If you're getting ready, if you're stuck in the mud, or if you need to wrap this cable around something, instead of winding that winch out with the switch, just take this little knob right here, turn it from in to out. What that switch does, it unlocks the spool. So that way, if you need to pull this cable out, you can just pull out what you need. And you don't have to use the little electric motor or anything. And then, when you get enough cable out that you need, go back and switch this from out to in. What that does is it locks the spool back into the gears. That way, when you use the little switch on the inside, it'll wind the cable back in. Now, if you forget to put this back to the in position, if you leave it out and you try to turn the switch on the inside to reel the cable back in, the little motor will spin, but it won't, the spool is not engaged and it won't pull the cable back in. So make sure you put it back on the in position. All right, so when you switch back in where it needs to be, you can go ahead and wind it back in. And see, it goes out just as slow as it goes in. So that's why I always like to take the switch and just unhook the spool. That way I can pull out what I need. Well, I hope I explained that a little bit better, but it's not too bad to operate. Like I say, the main thing I always try to remember is when I get ready to pull cable out, you can wind it out with the switch if you want to, but it just takes a little bit longer. But if you just flip that little switch on the side to the out position, pull out the cable that you need, hook what you need to, flip it back onto the in position, and just winch it back in. So I hope that helped out a little bit. And while we're on the subject of Coleman, I tell you what, I know there's been a lot of bad reviews on these things, but I tell you what, I cannot say anything bad about them. I've had this thing now for a few years, and I've never had any issues with it. If you want to look back at some of the old videos that we got, you can see the only thing I've really had issue with was the two nuts holding the exhaust manifold on. They just backed off, put them right back on, tightened them up, hadn't had a problem since. But I know there's a lot of bad reviews on these things, but for the price point of these things, you can buy 2 of these compared to the price of another name brand that they got out there. And we use this thing every day. I've not had any problems with it, knock on wood, thank the Lord. And you know, I know, had a comment the other day, somebody left on one of our videos that said you're better off saving your money buying a golf cart. But unless your golf cart's got 4-wheel drive and a dump bed and a winch on the front, I'd rather spend a few more dollars and get this Coleman right here anytime. And I know some people get it once in a while. It might be could be a limit or something. I understand that, but we got lucky on this one and hadn't had any problems with it all. And I've had a few people comment before that they've got some like this too, and theirs have been doing fine too. So, like I say, for the money I've spent on this thing, it's been well worth it for me the time I've had it. If it don't ever start again, I can't complain about it. Lulu, you think that was a good video on the winch? You think they explained it good enough?